Hey, what's up guys? This video is for chapter 1 test review. It is included in section 2.1, which is writing equations, but you guys need to know how to evaluate, use the order operations, combining like terms, the Schur property, and we do have functions g of x and f of x, and you guys will need to evaluate those functions. So first of all, we're going to look at the order operation, and if you look at number 1 here, you guys can use Desmos.com, which is a scientific calculator, and you need to evaluate that expression, which is 4 plus 5 times 7 minus 1. So using Desmos, all you have to do is make sure that you put in the right signs. Make sure you guys check your parentheses if you have any, and the actual signs for times, multiplication, or division or addition. So what I do in Desmos, I just put the 4 plus the 5, and then I have times 7, and we have the minus 1, and you see the answer is 38. Now using the order operation, which is PEMDAS, you always start with parentheses, but we don't have any parentheses here. And then the second step, you guys use exponents, but we don't have any exponents here. And the next step in order operation, you either multiply or divide. We don't have division, but we do have multiplication. So that's the first step we do. We multiply 5 and 7. And after that, we have to add or subtract whatever's first from left to right. And the first one is addition from left to right. And then you guys subtract. But with the calculator, we get the answer of 38. So for number 2, notice we do have parentheses. So order operation, and I'm going to write down PEMDAS just in case you guys don't remember. But I did talk about it in a second ago. So PEMDAS here. The parentheses is first. So you guys have to do what's inside. And then we have to look for exponents, but we don't have any. After that, we either multiply or divide. We do have a division here, and then we add or subtract, and we have addition here. But again, in Desmos, you just put the expression, and make sure that you guys actually know how to put the parentheses in Desmos and the exponents and everything else. So here's the 3, there's the parentheses, 16 minus 9, and then we have close parentheses. Make sure you guys check that parentheses. That everything looks the same, and then we have plus 12 divided by 3. Now the division is a little bit weird in Desmos because it's going to make a fraction. Don't worry guys, you guys just make sure that the division, the number after the division, is under the fraction. And if you have more stuff after the, in this case, if there's more numbers after the 3, in Desmos you have to move the cursor to the right. You guys notice that I'm adding a minus here, but I'm going to delete it because that's not what we have. But make sure the cursor is on the right side of the fraction. But the answer is 25. Number 3, you guys have to evaluate. Now this one is a little bit different because they give you guys variables and they give us the values of m, the variable t, and p. So we know that, let me just show you guys, m equals 3. T as in Tom equals 4, and P equals 7. The expression has m squared plus m times T times P. First, we need to substitute the values into the corresponding variable. And to do that, we are going to use parentheses. Every time you guys substitute a number, you guys use parentheses. So that m becomes a parenthesis, and I have the squared, plus m becomes a parenthesis. Now notice that in between the variables here, we don't have any signs, so we are multiplying. So I'm not going to use any signs. I'm just going to use another parenthesis and another parenthesis. M is 3. So I'm going to put m inside, or not m, 3 inside the parentheses. There's a 3 squared, plus m again. So I'm going to use 3 again right here. And t is 4. So I put 4 in the second parenthesis, or in this case, it's the third one. Right here, and then the last one is p, which is 7. So I'm going to use the number 7 for the last parenthesis. Now this, you have to follow the order operation to simplify, or you guys can use Desmos. And using Desmos, make sure you guys use the exponents and parentheses. So we have parentheses 3 squared, and we have the plus, another parenthesis 3, and another parenthesis 4, and another parenthesis, and we have the times 7. So my answer will be 93 for this one. For Number 4, this one doesn't have any variables. You just have an expression with numbers. All you do, guys, is you need to put that in decimals. Be careful with that division sign over here because it's going to make a fraction, and the -9 has to be on the right side of the fraction. So I'm going to delete what I have in decimals right now, and I'm going to start putting in the numbers. The 16 times the 1, and we add 4, we open a parenthesis, we have the 18 divided by 2. Now notice the cursor, when you guys put the division, there's the 18 divided by 2. It goes on the bottom of the fraction in decimals. So you have to move the cursor to the right, and you guys add, or not add, subtract 9, and you put a parenthesis. So make sure that you guys look at the fraction here, and the -9 has to be on the right side. If you guys leave the -9 on the bottom of the fraction, your answer will be wrong. This has to be on the right side, so you have to move the cursor. You have those arrows down here, and you guys just go to the right and you type -9. So in this case, the answer is 16. Number 5, now you're simplifying, you're not evaluating, which means you're not going to use a calculator because you guys need to simplify by combining like terms. So I'm going to get rid of this, the actual calculator. We don't need it for number 5, but we need to look for like terms. So like terms, remember, that are the ones that have the same variable, and the variables have the same exponents. So I'm looking at the x's right now. X squared, there's a 7x squared, and a 10x squared. The last one has a y cubed, so that's not the same letter, it's not the same variable, but you guys look at the same variable x and the x's have the same exponent. So that means they are like terms. So you're going to combine those two, 7 plus 10. You guys add the coefficients, and coefficients are the numbers in front of the variables. So 7 plus 10 will be 17. Keep the variable and the same exponents right there. Same exponent. You're not going to do anything to the exponent. Then the y cubed, which is a 5y cubed, you just bring it down. We don't have any other y cubed, so you just bring this one down, and that's it. You're not going to add the 17 and the 5 because they're not like terms. They don't have the same variable. So my answer is this expression, 17x squared plus 5y cubed. Number 6, same thing. We want to simplify. We are not going to evaluate. We're not going to substitute any numbers, but we do have variables. And you guys notice that we have parentheses. Now in parentheses, there's a couple ways you guys can do this. You see the 2 outside of the parentheses. Since we don't have anything in between the 2 and the parentheses, you're multiplying. So a couple ways you can do this. Number 1, you can either multiply, distribute the 2 first, and then combine like terms. Or a second method is inside of the parentheses, you combine like terms and then you multiply by 2. Now, if you think about PEMDAS order operation, we have to do what's inside of the parentheses first, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to look inside of the parentheses, and I notice that I have this 5m and the minus 3m. Those are like terms because they have the same variable. So I'm going to combine those two terms. I'm going to bring down the 2. There's a parenthesis, 7n, and when I add 5 minus 3, or in this case they have different signs, so you subtract, that's going to be positive 2, and you guys keep the variable. So you guys have to check your signs, always double check your signs. One more thing, we have to distribute. You have to multiply the 2 times the 7, n, that's going to be 14. 2 times 7 is 14, n, and then you guys multiply 2 times 2, and that's going to be positive 4m right here. Now, the standard form, when you guys have an expression, we always want the highest exponent first, and we always want the letters alphabetical order. You guys notice that the m and the n, those are backwards. Alphabetical order, m as in mom is first, and then n. So I'm going to switch the order. Even though this is correct, yes, this is right, but if you put it in order, you guys have the positive 4m first, and then the positive 14n. So make sure that you guys check what's on the test. It will be multiple choice. Make sure you check what order they have, they're not going to give you guys both answers at the same time. It's either this one on the top or this one. Just make sure that you check if they change the order or if they just left it as it is. Number 7, you guys also have a parenthesis and you have an 8 outside, so you're going to distribute. I notice inside of the parentheses, A and B are not the same variables, so you're not going to combine. But we also have a minus 24b squared outside of the parentheses. First, we need to multiply. We need to distribute. So I will multiply the 8 times the a squared. And keep in mind the a squared has an invisible 1 in front of it. So that's going to be 8. 8 times 1 is 8. A squared. And the next one, 8 times 3b squared. That's going to be positive 24b squared. Now, the last one, the last term, the minus 24b squared is not inside the parentheses. So you just bring it down. You're not going to multiply. And we have a minus 24b squared. We do have like terms again. Positive 24b and negative 24b. They have a square, so they're b squared. They cancel. They have the same coefficient, opposite signs. Positive 24 minus 24, that's 0. So all we have left is the 8 and the a squared. Now for number 8, you guys have 2 parentheses, and outside of the parentheses we have 2 different numbers. We have a 3 outside of the first parentheses, and we have a 4, which is a positive, plus 4 outside of the second parentheses. So first we need to distribute. So you guys are going to multiply 3 times the 5a squared. That's going to be 15a. And the next one, 3 times the b, which has an invisible 1 next to it. That's going to be positive 3b. You're multiplying. The next one, you have a positive 4. And you're going to multiply times the a, which is invisible 1. That's going to be positive 4a. And the next one, positive 4 times positive 2b. That's going to be positive 8b. You have to combine like terms. Now, alphabetical order, A is before B. So I'm going to look at the A's. There's a 15A here and a positive 4A over here. So you guys are going to add 15 plus 4. That's going to be 19A. And we have the B's. So positive 3B plus 8B. That's going to be positive 11B. So these are not like terms, the A and the B. So my answer is 19A plus 11B. Number 9, same thing as number 8. You guys need to distribute the numbers outside of the parentheses. So let's multiply the 2 outside of this first parentheses times the A. That's going to be 2A. Keep in mind there's an invisible 1 in front of the A. So 2 times 1 is 2. And then you guys have the 2 times the 3B. It's going to be positive 6B. The next one, you guys have a positive 3. So 3 times 4, that's going to be positive 12a. You're multiplying 3 times 4. And 3 times b, which is an invisible 1. 3b has an invisible 1, so 3 times 1 is 3, positive 3b. Combine like terms, we have the 2a here and the 12a over here. They're like terms because they have the same variables. So that's going to be 14a. 2 plus 12 is 14. And the b's, you have a 6b and a 3b. 6 plus 3 will be 9. And keep the same variable, b. So 14a plus 9b. Number 10, you guys have to evaluate. Now these don't have any variables. So that means we have to multiply, we have to divide, we have to subtract, we have to add. By using Desmos, you guys can put everything in there and it will give you guys the answer. So we have the 2 parentheses 11 minus 5, and then you guys close the parentheses, and after the parentheses we have the plus 9, and we are dividing by 3. So 9 divided by 3. So the answer is 15. Question 11. You guys have a graph. The graph is on the right side of the question. So we have the first quadrant here. We have an arrow. It's not a straight arrow, but it is segments or lines. We have a piece of the line going down, and then you guys have a piece of the line going to the right. Now you guys have to understand what that means when it goes down, when it goes to the right. And also you guys need to look at the x-axis, which is the horizontal line. This is time of day, and then you guys have the y-axis, which is price. So we know that the graph starts up here on the y-axis, which is the price, and it decreases, or you can say the price goes down, or you can say the price will decline. There's many ways you guys can say this, but we know that the price is going down, it decreases, and at this point the graph is going to the right. Notice that the graph stays flat, or the line goes to the right and it is a horizontal line. That means that it's constant, that it doesn't change. So we have the price going down and then it doesn't change, it just keeps constant. So reading the options, I noticed that we have to find the correct answer where it describes the graph. So A says the price was unchanged and then increased. That's wrong, because we know this is wrong. It decreased, meaning it goes down. So A is wrong because they mentioned increase, and they said it was unchanged. No, well, it had to decrease first, not increase. B, the price was unchanged and then decreased. Now that one kind of sounds correct, but they start with the price was unchanged. Well, look at the price. It starts up here. It doesn't unchanged, it actually goes down. So first it goes down and then it stays constant, or it doesn't change. So the order is wrong for B. So I'm going to take that, cross that out. But they mentioned the right way of the graph, but the order is wrong. It decreased first and then it's unchanged. C, you guys have the price rose. That means going up. Rose sharply, then level off. Well, doesn't rose, it actually goes down. So this word right there is wrong. So it's not C. So by elimination method, option D has to be the answer. The price decline, yeah, it goes down sharply. So decline, that's correct. And then it says level off. That phrase, level off, means that it doesn't change. It actually stays flat. So when you guys look at the price, it goes down and then it stays flat. It levels off, or level off right here. So option D is your correct answer. 12 and 13 are very related, almost the same thing, but 12 is asking for the domain. Let me just highlight that. And 13 is asking for the range. So we need to know what domain and range is. Domain are your X values. So I'm going to put an X on the top. And your range are going to be your Y values. So when you guys look at the order pairs or the sets of the relation, this is a relation here. It's just a list of order pairs. You guys need, for the domain, find the X's, just the X values. So I'm looking at the X's, I'm looking at the X's, I'm looking at the X's. Now, if one of the numbers is repeating, you just write it down once, and then you guys put them in order. Usually, mathematics, we put everything in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to look at the X's. Let me see. We have a 4, a 1. Actually, let me write those down on the side. Right here, we have a 4, a 1. We have another 1. And then we have another a 0. And a -1, a -1. We have a -1 here, a -2. And then we have a -4 last. Now, this is not your answer because we have to put in order. And notice that the numbers do repeat. The positive ones repeat. And you guys have the negative ones repeating. Do we have anything else repeating? No. So let's start with the lowest one, -4. And then -2. And then 0. No, -1. And then 0, +1, +4. So guess what? I'm looking at this option. -4, -2, -1, 0, 1. Oh, we don't have a 2, right? So that's not the answer. We don't have a 3. So that's not the answer there. So I'm looking at this one, G, -4, -1. Oh no, we don't have the -2. We must have a -2. So this option, -4, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 4. Yep, there it is. So this option is your domain. Make sure you guys remember, if you have numbers repeating, you just write it down once. There's a -1 one time, and there's the 1. It's from least to greatest, and that is your X domain, is your X values. For the range, number 13, now we're looking at the Y's. So the Y's, here is the Y, the first Y. There's a -1, and then a 2, and then a 4, and then a 3, and then a negative 4, and then another 4, and a 0, and the last one is negative 1. So first of all, the negative ones are repeating, so I just need one of those numbers. And the 4s are repeating, so I just need one of those numbers. And the lowest number is negative 1. No, negative 4, sorry, right here, negative 4. So I have to start with negative 4, and then I go to negative 1. So this one, nope, I'm looking at this one. So negative 4, there's the negative 1, then 0, I have the 0 here, and then the positive 2, there's the positive 2, the 3, yep, and the 4. This is your range. So it is from lowest to highest, least to greatest, and you guys have the Y values for the range. Alright guys, so this concludes my video. If you guys like my videos, you can subscribe to my video channel. If you guys want to click that like button, you guys can. Make sure you guys review, make sure you guys are ready for the test. I will make a second video tomorrow, so second part of the test review. And make sure you guys practice, and I'll see you guys later.